Hi, welcome back to Faith and Conviction, and I'm your host, Ray Harris. I want to welcome you to this week's Torah portion, and we're looking at Torah portion 37. Again, we are in the book of Numbers. This time we are in chapter 13, verse 1 through chapter 15, verse 41. And the name of our section is Shlach Lecha, meaning send on your behalf or send for yourself. So that's our Hebrew keyword. That's what we're going to be looking at this time. And I also want to encourage you to take a look at portion 16, Torah portion 16, because it actually has a little bit of our keyword study. And so some of the things that could be covered in this segment for our Torah portion will not be covered because it's addressed in that Torah portion. But the name again for our Torah portion this week of Torah portion 37 is Shlach Lecha, and it means send on your behalf, coming from the book of Bamidbar, which means in the English, in the wilderness, but we know the book as Numbers. So again, our keyword goes back to Shlach, which is Strong's number H7971. H7971, which Brown Driver Briggs defines as to be sent, to send off, to send away, to send out, to be sent off, to be put away. A whole bunch of ideas about taking and sending out. So Esword, the King James Concordance, has this word in there over 800 times, and that's a lot of times. It's a lot of occurrences for one word in the Hebrew. So it's very interesting. Again, go back to Torah portion 16 and get some of the ideas of what that's translated like. For our Torah portion, we find this word 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times thereabout in this Torah portion. So in these verses, in Numbers 13 verse 3, Numbers 13 verse 16 and 17, and Numbers 14 verse 36 is translated as sent. So that's Numbers 13 verse 3, Numbers 13, 16 and 17, and Numbers 14 verse 36. In Numbers 13 verse 2 is translated as send. So Numbers 13 verse 2 is send, and Numbers 13 verse 27 as sentest. So that's kind of what the King James does for us in this translation, and translate it as sentest in Numbers 13 verse 27. So we have all these different translations right here, or occurrences right here in our own Torah portion for sent, send, sentest. So again, I'll have all of those verses at the bottom of this video at the webpage at faithandconviction.org. So I encourage you to go there and take a look at it. Now, what's interesting about this is the connective points, and we always go from the Hebrew to the Greek of the Old Testament, to the Greek of the New Testament, to the English to see what's going on. So in Numbers 13 verse 2, 13 16, 13 17, 13 27, 14 verse 36, it all connects back to Greek number G649. Now there's a bunch of different variations because of the way the Greek does its ending of the Greek word, but it connects back to the word apostello. So that's a Greek word that means to order one to go to a place appointed, to send away. So a Greek word meaning to send. So all of those verses have that Greek word. Now, when you go over to Exodus 13 verse 3, it has ek apostellon, and we covered that word back in Torah portion 16. So what we're going to look at in this Torah portion ends up being actually very cool, even though I've talked about all these words. Take a look at this. It says here in Numbers 13 verse 2, in the King James, send, again, that's translated into Hebrew word with the Strong's number H7971, Shlach. Send thou men that they may search the land of Canaan. And I'm abbreviating here. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send. So again, that phrase right there goes back to the Shlach H7971, send a man. So we have it twice in that verse. The Complete Jewish Bible says, send men on your behalf. From each ancestral tribe, send someone. The Jewish Publication Society, this one here, says, send men to scout the land of Canaan. Send one man from each of their ancestral tribes. Now, we talked about the Greek words being what's found in the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Old Testament, also known as the LXX. So it is apostellon and aposteles, which connects back over to apostello, which is Strong's number G649. 6:4-9, which means to send away, to send one to a place appointed. Now, we have to take a look at this. How does it connect over? How many men went in to spy? 12. Now check this out. This is actually kind of cool. We go over to Matthew chapter 10, verses 5 and 6. Here's what the King James says. Or the Apostolic Bible Polyglot. That's one I'm actually using this time, so I am sorry. The Apostolic Bible Polyglot says, these 12, and they're enumerated in the first few verses of chapter 10. These 12, Jesus sent. And that Greek word that supports sent is apostelon. Strong's number G649. These 12 Jesus sent, exhorting them, saying, unto the way of the nations you should not go forth, and unto the city of the Samaritans you should not enter. But, verse 6, you go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, I want you to take a look at what happened here. We come back over here to Moses. Moses has 12 men that go into the land of Canaan, where the Israelites are going. We come down here to Messiah, and he chooses 12 men not to go out to the nations, but to go to the lost sheep of Israel. Now this is actually pretty neat and pretty cool. So what we have is we have Moses. You go back and if you are a student of the Greek, take a look at this. You can argue that the 12 spies are 12 apostles to the land of Canaan because they're to go out on a mission. They are sent. That's what apostello means, to send. And doing their mission, they would be called apostles. And they come back to Moses with a report. Now, the rest of the narrative of Moses talks about what happens. But back over here with Jesus, he chooses 12. And he sends them to the lost tribes of Israel. So interesting. Through Moses, God sends 12 spies to go where they're going. And through Jesus, God through Jesus sends 12 apostles, sent ones, back to Israel. Now this is actually very cool and very profound, and teaches that God is working from both directions. It's important to understand that God sends people out into the world, and then he sends people back into the body in order to achieve God's purpose. This is actually very cool. We wouldn't see this if we didn't see the Hebrew, the Greek of the Old Testament, the Greek of the New Testament, and the English. So because we're connecting all these words, we can see the power of Moses and the power of Messiah. The mission of Moses and the mission of Messiah. These are the cool things. Now, of course, the Great Commission, Jesus says, take it out into the entire world. Now, we know that. But here, back in Matthew chapter 10, 5 and 6, he took the 12 and sent them back into Israel for the lost sheep. That is pretty powerful, and that is pretty cool. And it is the power of the words when we take a look at what's going on. How there are many people who are called to be sent, and they could be called apostles according to the Greek. According to the Hebrew, Shlach, send on your behalf. That is pretty cool. So I hope it's been a blessing to you this week. Until next time, continue to seek God, know Messiah, find hope.